Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Josh the RV Nerd and this is your RV industry update for the month of June. Holy cow, we're getting there, aren't we? As seen from the perspective of a small town Midwestern dealer who just happens to have a pretty decent outreach. I've got a variety of things for you today, and unfortunately, again, I've been so busy, I have not had the opportunity to break this up into smaller chunks, so apologies in advance if this runs long. Again, if you like the information that we're sharing here, if there's a topic you want us to cover, if we've missed something, make sure you leave me a little comment or hit the like button on the video, and subscribe to keep up to date as we talk about things like little updates to the model year, some manufacturer production changes that they might cause some things to get pretty wacky in the next couple months. It's going to be interesting seeing how a couple things pan out. And something I'm excited to maybe finally start touching on, and I don't want to blow the horn too soon, but we might actually finally have some good news for like one of the first times all year for you, ladies and gentlemen. We are starting to get some 22 updates. I'll mention a few things about that. And also, along the way, I just want to express some thanks and some gratitude for the folks that helped to get us here. And let's get started. And why is it always so blasted windy every time I go to record one of these? I mean, without fail, 6 months in a row, it's been windy off the charts. Although, some of our viewers were kind enough to point out maybe it just gets windy when I open my mouth. I don't know. But as you can see behind us, inventory volumes are still at a critical mass, painful low. And this is true not just at our dealership, but at many dealerships across the nation. I've talked about how some dealerships have held on to inventory for various reasons in previous update videos. Maybe I'll leave you a link to those if you're kind of curious, or feel free to leave me a comment and ask a question. I'll do the best I can to fill in. But this is a problem that's not going away. And some manufacturers are instituting a policy to help build more RVs quickly without sacrificing their quality control, but it's gonna still be painful as they implement this process. And what's happening is more manufacturers are beginning the process of suspending production of some models so they can build more longer runs of their most popular models. When you build the same thing the same way every single time, when a manufacturer builds the same RV in more copies in succession, you can control the cost because it's easier to manage the parts. You can manage shortages a little bit more easily. You can also increase speed and quality through repetition, because when the workforce is building the same thing the same way every single time, it becomes a little more second nature to them, and familiarity increases speed. It's like if you've ever, this is way off topic, a weird parallel, but this is how my mind works. If you've ever done any sort of like sparring, boxing, martial arts, they don't tell you try to throw a punch real fast. They try to tell you to learn the mechanics and throw the punch properly. The speed will come once the fluidity of that movement becomes familiar with your body. Kind of the same thing. When the manufacturers build the same floor plan all the time, they can build more of them more quickly with less problems. The problem means that there's going to be a lot of stuff they're not building. There's been some manufacturers who've been doing this. A very good example, and an example of a brand who made it very easily to see from the consumer perspective, which not every manufacturer has done, is the Coachman Catalina group that we're partnered with here at Haylett RV. If you check their website on the Catalinas, it very clearly states these are the models that are available, and down here, these are the models that are in a limited production status, which means we might build some, we ain't building a whole lot of those. And more manufacturers are beginning to do this. Not all. Like Wildwood has 2 destination trailers and 1 travel trailer that is just not in production currently because it takes them too long to build those. It slows everything else down. There are more manufacturers, though, that are jumping on this bandwagon, and it is going to be a potentially painful temporary phase here where you're going to only see a lot of copies of, in some cases, only maybe 2 models out of a manufacturer's entire catalog being produced a lot. One example of this that I just got notified of this morning, and I will try to put more information out on this as I have the ability. I wish I could do nothing but try to share news with you guys all day, but I have other things that occupy a lot of my time that are my primary duty here. This is extra stuff that I put out as I can when I can. But like the Jayco Eagle HT fifth wheel group, this is one example. They are limiting their general production for roughly maybe the next 2 to 3 months to only the 28.5 RSTS and the 29.5 BHDS floor plans. Of the entire HT fifth wheel catalog, they're boiling it down to just 2 models because they are by far and away their most popular. And like I said, instead of building teens per day, maybe they could theoretically potentially get up to 20, get more orders fulfilled, get more product on dealership lots to help the dealer inventory problem begin to heal. Now, there's a lot that's happening here because along the way, as they've done this, certain models they've said, we're not building these anymore, we're going to straight get rid of them. And basically you'll see that reflected in a change in most manufacturers' 2022 catalogs. You will see a lot of floor plans in those 22 catalogs though that initially will be suspended or under limited production, and that will probably go away through the fall into the winter season, and we are roughly expecting a more normalized production method to resume either at the end of the year or, you know, about the time the calendar year might flip over. So it's going to mean more trailers get out, they're going to be done better, but there's going to be fewer floor plans available for a limited amount of time. Now, I've mentioned in a couple previous videos the change to the model year. That was, in theory, it would start happening in June, and I've seen a couple brands trickle a couple things through, but for the most part, what manufacturers kind of got caught doing is, for the benefit of a consumer, they basically said, okay, we're gonna have a month or two here where almost every single thing we build is a personal build for a client so that they can get the RV they were expecting to get as quickly as possible, because if there's a model year change, it's possible that a customer's retail order unit will have 2022 updates on it that maybe they weren't expecting. And in rare cases, a customer might go, I don't like what you changed. That's not what I wanted to buy. Get me out of this thing. So manufacturers made a hard call for about a month and a half here. Almost everything they're building is personal builds. Retail sold units is the name of it. Ordered RVs for customers like yourselves watching this. That meant that, again, for a nice chunk of time here, there was not a whole lot of dealer stock inventory coming into places like Haylett's or your backyard dealer, wherever you prefer. But again, it was with the good intention of giving you, you know, the bird in the hand, not the two in the bush. The customer who already made the commitment, giving you the RV that you committed to and that you thought you were purchasing as quickly as possible, rather than something else that might look kind of like it. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. With that though, the model year change for a lot of brands got pushed back a little bit, where a lot of them could start flipping that number around the first week or two of June. I'm actually hearing more manufacturers, like I've heard a lot from Keystone, a lot from Coachman, a couple Forest Rivers. A lot of them are actually looking around a July model year changeover. And typically what will happen here is they're gonna make that last big slug of personal build campers like we just talked about. And then basically all the workers get like a week or two off. It's one of the only times during a summer season where the laborers actually do get time off, because their schedules are usually pretty under demand. And that is when the factories go through, the engineers do like a line change basically, and they update all the lines and bring in all the new materials and processes. And when they come back from that summer break basically, that's when you're going to see the majority of the 22s kick in. And that is also when you're going to see a huge slug of new RV videos starting to roll back through our channel here, because you might have noticed we haven't had a lot. It's been almost exclusively used RVs on our channel recently. That's because our video catalog for the 21 model year is basically done. So as those 22s come out, my job starts over like Sisyphus pushing a rock up a hill. By the way, a little Greek mythology reference there for you. I bet you didn't think you'd get that in an RV video today.
Surprise.
But, you know, my rock rolls back down the hill. I'm standing at the bottom of the hill. I got to record a whole bunch of videos all over again. But those are the exciting ones when everything starts changing over. So if you haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button to catch those things as they roll through. Because I think we're going to see some very exciting things from a couple brands from what I've heard so far. And some good news, some potential good news. I don't want to get hopes up too quickly. I tend to do that. But I'm looking for positivity. This has been a challenging year for a lot of people. It's been a year that's had a lot of stress within the industry. I've seen people acting in ways they normally wouldn't, just because they're just out of character. There's just a lot of stress out there, and we're all doing the best we can with the end goal of trying to take care of customers, obviously. But maybe some signs of some positivity and some good news and some stability coming down the line here. I have been, since really about January, February, I've had a couple of the sources that I get a lot of info from on both the material side and OEM side, not even just the manufacturers, but the step before them, further down the pipeline, saying that we were going to have a lot of shortages this year. That's why I was talking about those things months ago. Something they've been saying, though, and they're still saying, is beginning around July and then largely through September, a lot of the major challenges that have been plaguing the industry in terms of material shortages and things like that are going to have largely begun to work themselves out, and that process of healing will really begin. Which means we may finally begin to see factories able to resume like 5-day-a-week production, because one of the things that's not always realized out there is a lot of the RV builders right now, their laborers are only working 2 or 3 days a week because there's not materials to build more, so they take a couple days off to build up a few, work for a couple days, then they give their people a couple days off. No sense in coming to work for an hour or two, then driving all the way home, you know. But what I'm hearing is that that flow, that supply of parts and materials is going to start opening back up as, you know, like more shipping lanes open up, port restrictions loosen up. A lot of things are going to start loosening up that allows for the flow of materials that our economy and our build processes really in North America as a whole really depend upon. It's not a guarantee yet, but that is, I'm seeing some positive indicators of that. Another really positive indicator. I've been watching things like prices of lumber, steel, aluminum, copper, the main core raw materials from which RVs are built. I have actually seen lumber prices slowly start trickling down. It's been a 2 steps forward, 1 step back, Paula Abdul opposites attract kind of process here. It's kitty fishing, but it's a natural fact. Oh, there's a reference for you. But I've seen steel kind of plateau. I've seen these materials roughly stabilize. Now, don't get me wrong, they went like skyrocketed for a couple months there, and I just spit all over myself, which is not attractive. But they are beginning to stabilize, plateau, and in some instances we have seen maybe the beginnings of the return to normalcy, where the cost of those materials is starting to get back to a more reasonable factor, which is something that we definitely should all look forward to, because that helps us not just in RVing, but housing. I mean, everything. Like, I remember the foam shortage was so crazy that Hasbro announced they had to raise the price of their Nerf bullets because they couldn't make enough of them. I mean, it has affected so many things. So hearing that those core base raw materials that compose not just RVs, but so many things in our everyday lives will begin to be a little more stabilized, affordable. I'm hoping that causes RV pricing to really stabilize. That would just be something that everybody would love to see. Long term, would we love to see pricing go down? Yes. I mentioned in my industry update last month. I don't know if it will. I've seen indicators in the past that lead me to that. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I don't know that I'm going to be. But fingers crossed, everybody. We're looking down a tunnel. There's a light at it. I'm hoping it's not a freight train, and I'm hoping it is the exit. And 2 more little points here before we wrap up, because my arms are getting tired from holding up this camera. I need to get a lighter camera. But real quick note on what kind of model year 22 updates are we expecting. So far, my information again is very limited. I have not seen anything that I really have seen as like a wow, really? You're gonna do that so far? It's possible a couple brands that haven't sent me any information might throw me a curveball, but frankly, pretty much all these guys have been so busy building what they have that they haven't had a lot of time to predict and plan anything new. So I think most of what you'll see for a 22 update will just be a couple things that they weren't able to get finalized in the 22 season. Again, as soon as I either get 22 trailers or if I even get a paper outline where I can go through just bullet points and try to give somebody highlights, not even for the sake of anyone who's shopping right now, but for the benefit of people who have already ordered an RV Because if you've ordered in the last month or two, it's a model year 22, and you don't exactly know what you're getting right now, and that sucks. And I want to do the best I can to fill in that blank. And another thing is, I want to take a moment to just express some extreme gratitude to you folks, our viewers, our supporters. This year we crossed a big milestone. I put a notice out where we passed 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and some very kind people have shared some very nice, kind words, and it just meant the world to me, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've tried to branch out and offer more information, more things like this, other than just RV walkthrough tours, other than just, here's what we got for sale, Martha. Obviously, yes, that's a big part of what we do here, but I wanted to be more for you, and you've really allowed us to do that. And again, not just the kind comments, but I've had people have sent me all sorts of little gifts. Like some folks sent me some brownies, pictures of my face printed in a little card, which is really cool. I've had handwritten congratulation notes mailed in, and there's something very classy about handwritten correspondence, like snail mail. Who would have thought that would have just really been a very meaningful thing? A gentleman who has his own YouTube channel called Copper Creek Cuts Lawn Care sent me a basically custom engraved Leatherman multi-tool that had my face and 100K subscribers and the date that we hit that on. Just some amazing kind gifts have come in from some people. Somebody sent me a box of 100 grand candy bars when we hit 100 grand subscribers, and I had about 2 of those things, and they were so good I was going to go into diabetic shock, so I had to start passing those things out, and thankfully they got picked off here at the lot real quick. Someone sent me a 12-pack of cream soda sampler. Folks, thank you so much. I don't ask for anything. You don't got to send me stuff. Just watch our channel, hit the like and subscribe button, share our videos every now and then, and it means the world to us. But for those of you who have gone that extra step above and beyond, it really does help put some wind in the sails. Although we got enough wind going on today, I have no idea what it's been doing to the camera. I hope that this video hasn't been just garbled beyond belief. But again, just from the bottom of my heart, from my family to yours here at our family-owned place, thank you so much. It's been a rough couple years between all the different challenges that we've seen in the industry, and I've really tried. I said it in December when I put out my December industry update, I was going to make this my best year with my best content ever. I feel like I'm doing that, and I feel like the response is there. And keep telling me what I can do to be better for you, and I will keep doing the best I can to make it happen. And that's all I got for you this time, ladies and gentlemen, which again tends to be a lot of me talking. I will continue to try to break these up into smaller bits, but I'll also continue to work on things like putting out our recall reports. I don't know if you've seen those. Well, one of the cornerstones of Haylett RV, you can actually see it right over there. It's a cornerstone. Never mind, it's a terrible joke, stupid dad joke. But one of the cornerstones at Haylett RV is safety before the sale, and another one is that our job's not done until you stay satisfied. So a continued commitment to information on things like this, safety recalls, whatever the case may be, big news updates. We will continue to put this stuff out as long as you're willing to hear it. So until next time, from my family to yours, thank you very much. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy Haylett camping, everyone.